And good morning to everyone. And that was Rod Stewart with Stay With Me. And what we're doing this week is a review. I thought since we have a final coming, now that's after we come back from Thanksgiving, we'll have a final about first week of December. And in doing that, I thought it was a good time to review for the 3 days before we have the holiday. So yesterday we reviewed, today we'll review, tomorrow we'll continue. And then what I'm hoping, after you've enjoyed your dinner, whatever it is you have in Thanksgiving, that you will spend some time after the dinner, you know, when you're wanting to relax and it's before dessert and you're sitting around fighting off sleep, look at your book and spend some time reviewing, because your final is going to involve about 30 questions from the Orange Book in 2 hours' time. You have about 5 minutes per problem you have to do. And it is a major part of your second half grade. Okay? So we have 7 units that we've done, and then you're going to have 300 points from the final. So that's 300 out of 1,000 points for the second half. So it's a rather important part. So with all that said, we're going to do a review, and I wanted to show you where you can get some of this information online. This goes back to essentially looking at what happens. Here is the web page, which is the Math 10 on review sheets. But I want to back up here so you can see where this all started. That's the home page, and then there's this splash page. Now the lower part of the splash page, this is that URL that I've given you before. You have Math 10. So if you click on that, you're going to have the home page. Now as I go to the top of this, there's the URL. It's virtual. Remember, it was the virtual, and it was the period, the Yosemite. It's something that I gave you, I think, as a handout earlier. I was going to see if I had any handouts here still for that. Not there. Yeah. There we go. I'm going to put this on a little bigger page for you. If you need this, I'll be able to go with it. Let me just come off there for a minute, Ernie. And if you'll just come back to me for a moment. And then I'm going to go to here. And let me bring that up just slightly to there. There is your URL. And I have this in a page if you need to pick it up. So I have some copies of that. But the point is, you go on to any web browser, Internet Explorer, Fox, whatever the browser you're using. Let's come off there. You go to that, and you'll get to this web page, which is this full page here. And that's where you go to the bottom left-hand corner, and you click on Math 10. Review sheets are at the bottom of that page. This page full looks like this. So it's the home page for Math 10. Then you just go to the bottom of that page, and you see review sheets. So I click on there, and then on the left side, as I look at that, there are reviews. And I'm going to, again, go to the bottom portion of that, and I'm just going to scroll down. So I'm hitting this arrow and scrolling down, and as I do that, you'll see a whole bunch of them. Wow. There's Final Review 2. That's what we were doing yesterday, 1 and 2. Today is Final Review 3. So I'm going to click on that, and what will pop up at this point is a Acrobat PDF file. And I'm going to zoom in on that, scroll down, and this is our first problem for the day. I have a bunch of stars, and I want you to group them in base 3 and name the number. So let me tell you how many stars are there. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I'm seeing 26 stars. So you put 26 stars on your paper, group them in base 3 appropriately, and tell me the number. So I'll leave that on the screen for the moment. You're going to group the numbers in base 3 and name the number. So we'll just leave that on the screen for a few moments. That's what we're doing. And this is the counting unit if you don't recognize it. The counting unit.
25.
You have 25 instead of 26. Okay, Ernie counted and got 25, so make it 25 instead of 26. I'll take Ernie's word for it. Okay, Leanne has 25 also, so we have verification. 25 in base 3. So you're regrouping. So you have 25 stars written out. You're grouping them by 3s and telling me the number. Well, hold it. Well, wait. Don't want to hear it yet. Don't want to hear it yet. Wait for a moment. Okay. Come back to me for a moment, Ernie, now. What I'm going to do is bring up another version of Internet Explorer. I'm going to go to the same place, but this time I'm going to look at the answers that are posted because I want you to be aware of that. So it'll take me a moment to bring in the answer section, and I'll scroll down here, and I'm going to go to the answers for the third review, and we'll see what we have here. Okay, want to wait for a moment. Oh, that's okay. We're there. Go ahead. Let's see. You should be here anyway. Here's what you have. Now, as you look at this, you'll note I've grouped by 3s. Let me bring that up just a little bit higher so you can see how we named the number. We named the number 221. Now, what the argument is that every group of 3 you regroup. So 3 stars, 3 stars, 3 stars, then regroup. There's 3 groups of 3 for a 9, then another group of 3, group of 3, group of 3, regroup as a 9, then 2 more groups of 3 and 1 left over. So you have 2 groups of 9, 2 groups of 3, 1 left over. Now my question, can you verify that 221 base 3 is the same as 25? So verify that 221 base 3 is equal to 25 base 10. So that's my question now after the question you did. So that's what I want next. Okay, I'm going to again walk off camera there. And I'd like you to verify this one for me. It's another counting problem. So another counting problem. Verify or show that 221, and that's not 221, that's just 221 base 3 is the same as or equal to 25 in base 10. That's what I'm asking you to do. Okay? So that's what's going on here. Give you a moment to do that. What is the key here? What is the hint I would give you? Anybody? The hint. What kind of notation? You are correct. Not scientific, but it is a notation. Expanded notation. That's the hint. So you want expanded notation on this. And what do you need besides expanded notation in order to do expanded notation? You need what? How about place value? So I would say use expanded notation to verify that 221 base 3 is equal to 25 base 10. So I write 2, 2, 1, and what are my place values as I write 221? First digit is always the ones place. Okay, it's always your ones place. It's 10 to the 0. It's going to be 3 to the 0, so the exponent is the 0. Now, what about your next place? It's the 3, which is your base. And then how do I get any other place value? Multiply by the base. So remember, I'm going to multiply by 3 as I go to the left. And so I get a 9. Those are my place values. Now, expanded notation tells you to multiply the digit times its place value. So we sometimes put these spaces in here so you are noting the difference between the number and its place value. So I want the sum of 2 times 9, because I had 2 groups of 9, 2 times 3, and 1 group of 1. And my argument is that this, when I get done, should be what? The 25 I have up here. Well, 2 times 9 is 18. The 2 times 3 is 6. The 1 times 1 is 1. I add that. I get 25, and I did what I wanted to do. Have we got it? I'm hoping that you remember the process. Now, somebody asked me a question earlier, and I hadn't thought, but I'll do it right now. Let's count in base 3, just a ways. I want to start counting. So it's 0. I'll start with 1. Okay. So 1, 2, 1, 0, 1, 1 with hesitancy, 1, 2, 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 0, 0. So we counted from 1 to 1, 0, 0 in base 3. Okay, so this is counting in base 3 to 1, 0, 0 base 3. The key, do not see 1, 0, 0 base 3 as what? 100. Don't see it as 100. It's 1, 0, 0 base 3. It's actually one group of 9. So instead of saying 100, you'd say 19, which is really confusing then, because do you mean 19? Or so we just say 1, 0, 0 base 3. Okay, that was nice. So a few problems on counting. Okay, I'm going to come back to the web page. Oh boy. Here we go. We're buying stuff again. A store advertises that you save $75 on that new TV set. The discount was 33 1/3%. So you saved $75. You had 33 1/3% discount. I want to know the original price of the TV. What was the retail price? So we'll leave that up on the screen for a moment. Let you work with it. $75 was your discount. That's how much you saved. The discount was 33 1/3%. I want to know, what was the price? So this is when you come home and you say, hey, we bought a new TV, dear. Gee, we saved $75. It was a 33 1/3% off. What I haven't said is, how much did it cost? You understand the dilemma? Okay. Think of this problem as you're watching all the football games on Thanksgiving Day. How much? What did you get for your answer? $228 is my figure. Anybody agree? What's the setup? What unit is it from?
Part of whole and percent.
Okay, what unit is that has part of whole and percent? What is the unit called?
We'll get back up to that one.
It's one of those 3 words. Is it the part of unit, the whole unit, or the percent unit?
Percent unit.
The percent unit. Okay? Now, what do we use in the percent unit when we look at solutions? What is my help that I sometimes use? What do we call it? When I look at the percent unit, what tells me sometimes what to do to get the solution? It is the triangle, correct? Okay, now let's go back and see what we should have here. The whole is the part of over percent. And I have $75 as the part. The percent is 33 1/3%. And now here's where we get into a problem. Okay, now again, Adrian, what was your answer? 200 and what? 228. Okay. Coming off there for a moment, Adrian did 33%, which is a little bit less of a discount. Well, if we do 200 and, if I divide 75 by 0.33, we get about 200 and what you said, 228? Now, if you divide with some 3's after the decimal point, so 33.33333, try that. So when you do this problem, let's go back to the solution. In that denominator, write it as 33.333333 before you hit the percent. And you should get to 225. Now there's a nice shortcut there. Let me write the shortcut on the board for a moment. So this is the problem number 2. And the shortcut I have in mind is taking the 75, this is the whole, and I'm saying it's 75 over 1/3 as we go to the board. Because what is 33 1/3% as a fraction? 1/3. So if I divide 75 by 1/3, what should I do? Otherwise, I have this is the whole, and so my argument is I have 75 divided by 1/3. What do I do with the 1/3 when I'm dividing? Well, what do I do?
You change it.
How do I change it?
To a decimal.
Multiply. So it's 75 multiplied by the reciprocal. And 3 times 75 is 225. And you don't have problems with the decimal point. So that's how you can get around the difficulty of the decimal point. So a $225 TV, it clearly is not high definition.
Yeah.
If it's high definition, what do I need in front or in that answer? Maybe a 0 at least, so 2,250 or maybe 1,225, but you aren't going to get high definition, I don't think. Is anybody, Ernie, have you bought one yet? Okay. I doubt that you can get much more than the small 11-inch, 9-inch little TV that you put in the kitchen.
For $75.
For $225? For $225? Yeah, a bitty one. Yeah, it's on the, you put it right above the microwave so you can watch the movie instead of the microwave. Okay. A decent sized kids TV for $225. What's decent size? 19?
Yeah, about 19, 20 years.
Color?
Yeah.
Okay.
We
They don't make a non? I don't know. At yard sales, okay. You can get one, I'm sure, at a yard sale that's black and white that goes back to 1960 with rabbit ears and everything.
Hey, I used to watch Shirley Temple on one of those when I was a kid.
Okay, well, I'm not disparaging about that. Watching the Rose Bowl in black and white was a true experience. Okay, the Rose Parade and the Rose Bowl, and yes. Well, the point was it was all that was available.
Well, you didn't have to listen on the radio, I guess.
Yeah, it's better than the radio broadcast. Now, let's go ahead and look at a new problem. So give me a moment. We got sidetracked momentarily. $225. Now, okay, we've got, in a moment, Ernie, I need to bring this up center. Okay, there's my problem. Find the area of a circle that has a diameter of 12 inches. I want the shape, the formula, substitution, and answer. We'll leave that on the screen for a moment. The shape, the formula, the substitution, the answer, and be very careful you write the correct units.
You want the area? Is that what you said, area?
That's what I have written, the area of a circle. The area of a circle. What unit is this from? The formula unit. You need to know a formula to do this problem. give you some time here. Draw me the shape, give me the formula, give substitution the answer, and remember, what should this be? Is it going to be inches, square inches, or cubic inches?
Inches.
I heard inches and cubic
Square.
inches.
Square.
It's the square inches. Okay, so coming off there for a minute, Ernie, I think you should, at this point, have an idea of what the solution is going to be like. So I'm going to go to my solution here. Now, I want you to understand what you're going to see here is not what I am seeing on the screen. I actually see a circle. But because of the way this zoom function works, it looks more like an egg. But it is a circle on my screen. And note, we have 12-inch diameter. So the radius is 6 inches. There's my formula, pi r, pi r squared. I substitute 6 inches times 6 inches. Finally, 113.04 square inches. What's wrong with that answer? Yes, it was rounded. What was rounded before I even got to the point of multiplying? The 3.14. What you need to realize is that this answer is an approximation. We'll get back on the screen so you can see it in a moment. But it's an approximation because pi is not exactly 3.14.
No, it goes on.
It's 3.14159, and it goes forever. Doesn't repeat, goes forever. So that is only an approximation. Ernie, let's go back to the answer. So that 113.04, we can get more accuracy if I have more digits for pi. It's just you may not want to remember pi for more than 3.14. And here's your challenge for Thanksgiving Day. When you have pumpkin pie, apple pie, all those pies, see if you can avoid thinking of 3.14. That's your challenge for Thanksgiving. If you can face a pie and not think of 3.14, I've not done my job well. Well, that's fine. I mean, there's mathematics even in Thanksgiving dinner. Think of how many slices of turkey you could do for the number of people you have and how many pounds your turkey needs. Remember we had that problem? If you take so many slices per person and you have so many ounces per slice, how many pounds would you get?
How many slices?
So the idea is how many persons could you serve with a certain size turkey? Or the best thing, buy the biggest bird that you can get that'll fit in the oven. 30-pound turkey, dead or alive? Dead, okay, in the store, at the store. 30 pounds. Wow. How many hours does that take to cook? 7.5 hours, so you're going to be up at 5 a.m. No, the mother-in-law's going to be up. Somebody's going to be up at 5, 7, 6. Now, of course, if you soak it in brine, but if you soak it in brine, then you may have another 12 hours of soaking it in a brine solution to keep the moisture in. Then you put it on the Weber, and then you every 15 minutes adding the briquettes.
You can actually just put ginger ale in it.
Ginger ale on a turkey?
Put ginger ale inside the pot.
Okay.
My mom does it every
Put
year.
ginger ale inside of the... We're cooking. We have a cooking show now. We're competing with Rachel Ray. Okay, so what are we going to do? We put ginger ale in the pot with the turkey and do what? Cook it, keep basting it with ginger ale.
And well, you can butter the outside.
Okay, that's like doing Coca-Cola on ham.
It's so good.
Okay, all these, now where else would you get this kind of information before Thanksgiving? I bet Rachel Ray will not tell you anything about ginger ale. Okay, 30-pound turkeys on the Weber with barbecue briquettes or, okay, briquettes. So that means somebody's out there every 15, 20 minutes. Okay, so you can sit back and enjoy your ginger ale while you are barbecuing. Ooh, spiked with something. This was not part of Rachel's broadcast. So, okay. I don't know. Okay, so she's a perky cook. I guess we'll put it that way. Okay, So we're now going from turkeys to tea. Okay, so 2.25 ounces of tea, selling for 75 cents. So that's 75 cents per 2¼ ounces of tea. How many dollars will you have to pay for 1.5 pounds of tea for Thanksgiving? I don't know how many people will drink tea with their Thanksgiving meal.
For 1.5?
This is 1.5 pounds of tea, and you're paying 75 cents for 2.25 ounces. What unit's this from?
Part of?
Not the part of. This is. We still haven't heard the correct how much dimensional analysis. Okay. So we have a problem about dimensional analysis. Let me ask you this question. What must be in my first fraction?
Dollars.
Very good. 2 of you promptly said dollars because I wanted how much. So I'll start up here with dollars. That's what I need to know. Now, is there anything in the problem while we still look at it that has dollars in it? No. But we have cents, correct? So let's go to the board. So we go to the board. What can I use between dollars and cents? How many cents and $1? $1, 100 cents. Now the question, what must go in the numerator of the second fraction?
75 cents.
Cents, just the units. Has to be cents so that I can do what? Cancel that dimension. So I want to do this. Now back to the problem. There's information there. I have a 75 cents, but that was for what? How many ounces?
1.
Now look at the problem. The 2.25 ounces. Now I'm leaving it as a decimal. You could do what? 2¼ What has to be in the next numerator?
Ounces.
Ounces again. Why?
15 ounces.
Because I want to cancel the ounces. All I want left is dollars. So what am I going to use? Back to the problem. I don't have anything in there about ounces
16 ounces is 1.
other than my 2.25, but I have to go back to my table, and in that table, which we don't have on the screen, we'll come back to the board. You need to remember that 16 ounces in what? 1 pound. However, I have pounds there I don't want, so I must have pounds up here. And do I know something from the problem? Back to the problem. I have how many ounces? Or
1.5
pounds.
pounds.
Let me scroll over, if you give me a moment. Scrolling along, and we have 1.5 pounds. So as I go to the board, that last fraction's over 1. My pounds cancel. So I'm going to write down the numbers I have. So I have a 1, a 75, a 16, a 1.5, 100, 2.25. Got carried away there with the 2s. Now you're saying that you're trying to be forgiving?
No, because I messed up. I thought I heard 2.25.
Because you're crazy.
Yeah.
Where did you hear the 2.25?
The
On the
2.25
pounds?
ounces.
Oh, you were going to do much more, so you were going to pay for a lot of tea.
He was thinking the ounces.
Okay, well, we'll let you get by with that. 1's here, and this is dollars. Okay, you two guys over there are working the problem. Chris, Adrian, what do you have for my money? Not the right answer.
It's $8.
We're saying $8. Is there agreement on that? How many have $8? Well, that's not doing well. So I'll come back over here. Let's see if we can find. This is like, what's the real answer going to be? Okay, here's the answer. $8. Okay, so that's good. And we saw how to set it up. So $8, this is not the real expensive tea. What would have been more fun if I had come back to the problem and said that you pay $75 for 2 1/4 ounces. That would have been much more interesting. We'd had $800 for 1.5 pounds of tea. There is tea that's expensive.
Yeah.
But we aren't buying it. We buy ginger ale.
No, my stash tea.
Okay. Now, let's see what the next one is. New problem coming up. Went too far there. Let me bring this back down. There we go. Coming across. There we go, folks. Scientific notation. Well, turn around and look at the TV behind you. I know you can't see what's behind you if you aren't looking backwards. So how many zeros did you count? 6 between the decimal point and the 235? So 6 zeros between that first decimal and the 235. That is a 235 at the end. I can't get it any larger than that. What about the number of zeros after the 275? And 12 zeros there after the 275. And what you may not be able to read because of the size of the screen. And let's see, I might be able to go ahead and do this. I hadn't thought of that. I can. Aha. Just about too late to be thinking about that. Does that make it easier to see? Yeah, isn't technology great? Okay, so we can get that even larger. So let me go ahead and increase the size there. We'll get it to where it's right in your lap nearly. There we go. There's 5A. Now, we got that one written down, and I'll scroll over here in a moment. So that makes it a lot easier. If you're at home watching the television, you can just go up to the screen and do it. Okay, have you got part A? If so, I'll go to part B. Okay, part B. There's B. Do you see the 12 zeros? Then part C. Whoops. Going off the edge of the screen, so let me scroll. I've got different things I can do here. There's part C. Now I need those 3 answers. So let's start with part C. Who can give me the answer to part C?
4.29 times 10 to the -2.
Boy, do I have stereo, nearly. Okay, so I have a 4.29 times 10 to the negative.
-2.
Back to the screen. How many places do I have to move the decimal to the left to get it back to where it was?
Oh, 1. My bad, Elvin.
-1. Okay, 10 to the -1. I didn't have to get it to the left of the 0.
That 0
That 0 was a,
threw me off.
yes, that was a distractor.
Well, even geniuses make mistakes.
Oh, and so let's go back to the document cam. Note, I want the decimal to be back to its original position. So as I go back to the board, when I have it at the 4, I only have to move 1 place to get it to its original position. Okay, let's go back to the document cam. Now, let me scroll back. This is the part B. So let me get that so we can see it. Part B. In part B, somebody tell me what I should have. Okay, Rose says 2.75. I'll buy that times 10 to the Rose. What is it? 14th power. Let's look at the problem and see if it works. We have 12 zeros and the 7.5 to get back. So that's 2 to get past the 7.5 and 12 more. That's 14 places. Okay, I'm going to scroll back further. Whoops. My scrolling whoops doesn't make a whole lot of sense for you, I realize, but let me scroll back here. There's part A. So what do we have for part A? A partee. A partay. 2.35, I'll agree with that. And what exponent are you going to put with it, Adrian? -7. Okay, do we agree? Let's go back and look at the problem. Now we want to know how many zeros are there. So I have these first two, then another 2, then another 2. That's 6. So I have one more than the number of zeros. That is a -7. Very good. Okay, coming back to yet a new problem. I think I'm going to bring this down a little bit so I can see what I'm doing here. Let's see. That's the last one of that group. So here's a question for you from simple interest, the unit we just did. I want to invest some money, so I'm going to use it in this space over here, Ernie, to the right. We're going to invest $5,000 at 6% interest. We found a good bank that'll give us 6% quarterly compounding. So let me go to the board. So we have invest $5,000 at 6% interest rate for 2 years. Quarterly compounding. On your calculator, give me the amount at the end of 2 years. So I want balance in 2 years. That's my question. So let me walk off camera, and you can just stare at that for a moment. Get me an answer with your calculator. This is a shortcut we used. This is a compound interest problem from the simple interest unit. So the question, what do you have at the end of 2 years? So we'll see if somebody can come up with an answer for me. You can do it on your calculator and never have to write anything down until the answer. 7,200? That's one answer. Somebody would have a challenge in that? 7,200? What do you have? No, you may just have a different answer, so don't throw it out automatically. You know it's going to be more than, it's more than 5,000, I'll tell you that.
Oh, we can use that shortcut.
Yes, you can use the shortcut. That's the discussion going on here. What is the shortcut we're going to use? Ernie, I'll have to go to the, what camera are you on now? Okay, come back to me for a moment. And if you could go ahead and bring camera 2 to the side. What's the shortcut I'm going to use with the calculator?
Interest divided by time.
Okay, I'm going to take my interest, which is 6%. So I'm going to take 0.06, divide it by what?
The 8 is quarterly, so it's 2 times.
No, quarterly means I'll divide by 4.
But then for 2 years.
I realize that, but I'm still going to divide by 4 because it's quarterly.
And that's what I'm
Here's my calculator. So what I'm going to do is we go to the document cam. We're going to try to set this up with a shortcut. So what I'm going to do, by the way, this particular calculator I'm using here is available at the bookstore in the gleaming aluminum body with the sheen on it, and that's at $1.99 in the bargain barrel of calculators in the bookstore. So for $1.99, let's see what we can do.
So we would do 8 times?
Yes, we're going to take 0.06, and since we're doing it quarterly, I'm going to divide by 4 and hit equals. Then I do what? Add 1. Always the same process, and I get 1.015. I'm going to put that in memory plus. So as I slide that up, here's the memory plus key, and you see a little M up here in the corner. Now, what we're going to do, this is the simplest way of doing this shortcut. I'm investing 5,000, correct? I want to multiply that by this number to get my interest in 1 quarter, and I have 8 to do. So I'm going to enter my 5,000. I'm going to multiply by memory recall. And if I hit equals, that's the amount after the first quarter. Times memory recall 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equals. And it froze up. It didn't like it.
It's 5,760.
Okay, let me try it. See if I can get it not to freeze up. I have it at M plus. Okay, now 5,000 times memory recall times memory recall, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equals. Now there's my number, and that's what I have in the bank. $5,632 and 46 cents. And that is correct. So my answer to this problem is going to be $5,632.46. Let's go to the board on that. Just show that up there, Ernie, with camera 1, and that's okay. There's my answer, $5,632.46, which is what you see on the screen as the calculator. Let's go back to the calculator screen. That's exactly the same process. Now what I'm going to do on the sideboard is just outline the steps there. So again, this is just a series of steps. I'm going to take my interest rate, which was 6%, and I'm going to divide it by the number of times that I'm going to compound. So I'm going to divide by 4 because I'm doing it 4 times a year. Hit equals. Now what you're going to see then is this number, 0.015. Always add 1 and hit an equal sign. You're going to see this number. Now the shortcut. Take the amount you're investing. That was 5,000. So we're just going to enter that. I'll put E for enter. And then I'm going to hit times and MRC, which stands for memory recall. For 2 years, how many times do I compound? 8 times. So I do this sequence 8 times and finish with a what? An equal sign. And when I hit that equal sign, I should get what's on the document cam. So first set it up. We'll stay here for a moment, follow through these steps, and see if you can get out of this exactly what we had with the document cam. That's the number you're supposed to have. Ernie, that works pretty well with the light background. I don't know what's happening, but that's about the best that's worked. So the silver bullet reminds me of Coors. So the silver bullet on the background, the best resolution we've had on a calculator all semester. $1.99 pays. Okay, so I feel good. Have we got it? Yeah, the green one would just probably just go out of sight. Now, any questions on that? Let me ask you this question. If you wanted to do this for 5 years, what would you do? What's the difference if I wanted 5 years? What would I do? I would do 20 times here instead of 8. Because in 5 years, 4 times a year, 5 times 4 is 20. We got it? Now, just a reminder. And again, Ernie, come back to the calculator for me. That's what we get if we do this in terms of, and I'll be back center. This is what we get if we do it quarterly. I wanted to share with you one more time, although I don't expect you to do this in the test, how we would do this problem. Now, the calculator I'm going to use here, in 1976, okay, that's 30 years ago, this calculator ran on sale $250 for this kind of calculator 30 years ago. It is available in the MJC bookstore, $11. It's amazing. Now, I don't know if this is going to work as well. Let's see. Here is my effort to show the calculator. I'm trying to avoid the glare. I have no idea if I'm going to lose the glare. Let's try where it would work better, Ernie. Right there? Okay, let's try that. Now this is the sharp 531. If I sort of cover that up, do you see the 531 in the upper left-hand corner? It's called the EL531W. Now what I'm going to do is take my .06 and I'm going to divide that by 4, get an equal sign, add 1, exactly what we did before, and hit equals, and I could do this same problem using a y to the x key. So the y to the x key is this key right down here, and all I have to do is take y to the x now and take that to the 8th power. There's my number. Multiply that by 5,000, and I get the same answer we just had without doing something 8 times. That's nice. Now, if I want to do it continuously, we use a different key. This one's harder to see. I'm going to try to bring the camera down very tight. Do you see the e to the x key right here? That's e to the x. So what I'm going to do, coming off there for just a moment, I'm going to take .06 for 2 years. .06 times 2 is .12. Watch what happens. I'm going to, on this calculator now, hit that e to the x key, and look what happens when I do it. I have to hit orange first, then the e to the x. So I get e to some power, and the power is .12. That's my exponent. I hit that and multiply it by 5,000. And folks, I made $5 more doing it continuously instead of quarterly. So on $5,000, I just make $5 more compared to what we had before. Okay, tomorrow we're going to do the same thing. More review, getting ready for the holidays so you can study. We're going to go back to Rod Stewart, Ernie, and we're going to do Stay With Me. So have a great afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow.